Okay guys, so I just went ahead and assembled the front knuckle and carrier with the hub. Looks really sweet. Proline sent us with the, and this comes in every kit, okay, an aluminum carrier and aluminum hex nut, okay. Looks really cool, love the blue. But I'm going to show you guys how to assemble it on the right side. This was for the left, that's for the right. Alright, so one way to identify these to make sure you're putting this on the correct side, as this is side specific. On the plastic knuckles, you can see that there's an R, the other side will have an L. The carriers, R, and the other side will have the L. So it's simple as that, okay? Now you're going to follow the book. You're going to make sure that it goes in. You basically want the letter, side with the letter facing upwards, okay? So we'll slide that into the carrier, like so. And then we're going to take our kingpin. And the kingpin, this is what Proline's calling the kingpin. If you guys can see, I know kind of hard, I'm trying to get it to focus, actually has threads just on the top quarter of this screw, okay? That is actually going to go in at the bottom of the carrier here, all the way through. And we'll do that now. A little trick, might not be a bad thing. I might do this a little bit later on, but just for the purpose of this video, I'm not. Might not be a bad idea to add a little bit of blue thread locker or Loctite onto those threads, just because it's going into the aluminum. That'll help it from having the screw pop out on you while you're driving. Again, I might do that later on. So once you get that screwed in and all together like so, okay, we're going to take our 5x11 bearings, we're going to put one on the front side, and then we're going to do one on the back side. Now for those of you that know, never had a two-wheel drive truck, in the front end you got this pin or an axle, okay? What it is it's smooth on one side, smooth on one end, and then has a screw end on the other. So it's similar to a rear axle, except for the fact it just doesn't have a drive shaft coming off of it going to the car. Instead, this end right here stops on the back side of the bearing and holds it in place. And you have your hex nut and your drive pin that hold it in on the other side. So slide that in from the back side, okay? So that's what I mean. It just holds it in, so that way it can still rotate, okay? The next thing that we are going to do is we got to install two little shims, okay? This takes up a little bit of the slack of this axle shifting back and forth, so your wheel doesn't wobble around all over the place, okay? Once you do that, you're going to take your drive pin, that little guy right there, and you're going to insert it into the hole of that front axle. Try to do that without it falling out. Okay. Now, Proline has sent in the kit aluminum hex nuts. This is what attaches to your wheel. The wheel goes over it before you put the nut on. Sorry guys, it's a little blurry. But you're going to want to line it up so that the drive pin goes into those slots. And then you're going to take a little screw, tighten it down. And when I mean little screw, I mean little itty bitty tiny screw. Don't lose it, whatever you do. The kit does not come with extras. So we will get this in. Make sure it is sitting flush. Flush up against it, and that the drive pin is on the inside of it. Okay. Tighten it down. Don't over tighten it. It'll pretty much stop, and it won't come off. Okay. Last but not least, the wheel nut. If I can get that to go on. Voila! There is one side. Hopefully that showed you guys how to do it. Okay. So now that we got those two sides all set and done, now we're going to install it back onto the vehicle. Or install it on the vehicle, not back onto it. Excuse me. So, for this step, okay, now if you guys take a look here, on the bottom half of the carrier you have a little extra to the aluminum. That is what is going to sit down inside of the control arm, just like so. Then you're going to put your screw through it and tighten that part of it up. Of course, that's going to sit up higher. I just did that so you guys could see. So, what you're going to need to put that in is you're going to need what's called a front outer hinge pin. Okay? This little screw. It's only... Come on, focus. It's only got a little bit of threads on the very end. Okay? That you're going to do from the back side, not the front side, the back side. Get that out of the way. Gotta get to line up. Okay. Once it pops through, like so, you're going to put a little 2.5 millimeter lock nut, which are actually silver. They are not the black ones. Those are 3. This is a 2.5. Okay. So the next step is actually to mount up the carrier link right here. Okay. Sorry. The carrier link to the actual carrier, or camber link, I should say. They say to use this on the outside hole. Okay. So if you guys take a look, there's 2 holes. You're actually going to put that through this outside one right here, okay? And for that you're going to use one of the 3x18 millimeter screws. You're going to go in from the back side. Okay. Okay, so we now have the knuckles completed. They look sweet, stiff, solid, smooth. Definitely smooth. That's awesome. So now on this part, you guys, we are going to be installing the steering links. And remember how I said on the cambers you had a small ball end and then a larger ball end on the outside? Well, for the steering links, you don't have that. You have the same size steering nuts, steering ball ends on both ends. Okay? And again, on the picture, it does say actual size, actual spacing, so that way, again, you can just match it up and make sure that the spacing is pretty darn close. Okay? So, for this, literally, it is so simple that I am actually just going to skip over this part of putting the screws in. But all you're going to take is two of the 3x18 millimeter screws, put them in from the bottom side. There is a place for the lock nut to sit on top. I will show you that in 2 seconds. Okay, if you guys can see there's a little indent for where the lock nut can actually sit. So all you have to do is just put the screw in. So we just got those installed. Again, I want to reiterate, if you guys take a look on the steering links, you'll see a little bump. Make sure that is facing the driver's side. Okay? And now we only have 2 more steps left. 3 more steps left. And this part is extremely, extremely simple to do. And you know what? I'm going to save that for another video. Alright guys, stay tuned.